Welcome to the Game of Life podcast, where we bring you inspiring softball stories, insightful tips from coaches and players, and explore how the game transcends its boundaries to become a metaphor for life. Whether you're a sports enthusiast, a casual fan, or someone just looking for inspiration, you're in for a treat. We'll unravel the tales that go beyond the scoreboard. Discover how perseverance and hard work on the field translates into resilience in your daily challenges. Learn about teamwork, leadership, and the unwavering spirit that fuels success, not just in sports, but in the game of life. All right, another week, another episode. Uh, I want to do a big theme this week that doesn't have a lot to do with softball, but has or sports, but has everything to do about softball and sports, and that's the benefits of all the traveling we did with you and your sister playing softball. How many memories we have through all that traveling that probably supersede all the softball you played. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, when I think about travel softball, I think about softball a little bit, but I really remember all the memories with my family and my friends, and I think there's a lot of benefit in that that doesn't get talked about enough. So, when I think back to travel softball, we have so many fun memories traveling across the country to different states, different regions, and it just brings me so much joy thinking about it. And I think the biggest thing is like it gave me so much perspective, not just in athletics, but in life also because in athletics, right, you're playing all these kids from California and Kansas City and Florida, and you see how much talent's out there and how much softball is out there and how many athletes there are and how hard you have to work to get to where you want. And on the flip side, you see all these beautiful areas and all this travel. And I think, my family did a really good job of, yes, we were there for softball, but we also found pleasure in the places that we were, and those were our family vacations growing up.
Yeah, it fit us well. I mean, with your mother and I both being in education, and almost your whole career you were playing with your older sister. So it was super easy to pack the four of us up and just go, right? Not
Yeah.
without sacrifice of doing other things, but every every trip, even the quick weekend trips to New Jersey or PA or up north in New York, were just all about experiencing something in that area to realize that, well, the country's bigger than you, the sport's bigger than you, history's bigger than you, and it provides a ton of perspective, which I think you can only gain through experience because now you have something to compare your new experiences with.
Yeah, I agree. And I think too, like I see it all the time and I saw it growing up where, let's say you have the fun 8 a.m. game that everybody likes. So you play at like 8, 9:30, and 11. Now you're done by 12:30. You have the whole rest of the day, right, to go explore and do what you want. Let's say you're in Colorado, you're in Florida, you're in Nevada, you're wherever. Some people let their performance ruin that whole rest of the day for them. And don't get me wrong, like there were times I was not happy after the way I played, but you go back to the hotel, you shower, and then you remind yourself, like, okay, like this is fun, we're having fun. For those of you guys that have seen like that meme out there on like you kind of just have to snap out of it and it's a new day tomorrow because to me, that's where perspective comes in because talk about losing perspective. You're mad you went 0 for 3, so you're gonna miss out on, time with your friends, time with your family, time to see a part of the country that other kids dream of going to. So don't get me wrong, it is important to self-reflect, but I think that was something our family talked about a lot. Like it's selfish to act like that when this is an opportunity that your parents are paying so much money for, you're giving so much time to, and to kind of squander it and, not take advantage of it.
Yeah, that's just very selfish. I mean, it's selfish for your parents that are spending money. It's selfish for the rest of the teammates that some may have had a good day, right? And I look back at all the stories we could go through, the best teams you played on. It wasn't about when it's over, everybody goes their separate way. The best teams were on when it's over. Everybody, for the most part, wanted to be together still. And that's family, that's team, that's experience, that's fun, that's bonding. Uh, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think. you hit the nail on the head. Like that's what I think about when I think of travel ball. And this next statement I'm gonna make is kind of for all the travel coaches out there because we've seen it growing up where, you travel and yes, it's important. Softball is your number one priority when you're there, but we've had coaches say, you have the 4 p.m. game, you better be in the hotel all day until you play. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, and I get it. There's a level of responsibility, but I think that's part of learning and part of having to be able to trust your team because, I think families put a lot on the line to go travel to these places and then to sit in the hotel until 2 p.m. and not be able to go to breakfast or not be able to go somewhere else. Like, I think, if you're a coach out there, and I think that's just something to think about because I don't necessarily think it has to be 0 or 100% on that. I think there is a little bit of compromise that can happen because, I mean, to me, to your point, like the travel team I ended up on, there were very little guidelines when it came to that, and we did pretty well. We played free, we played fun, we had fun, and that's why I remember it so well from, that last travel team I was on.
Well, and to talk about that quick from a coach's perspective, my when I coach school ball, I'd much rather have all the players be in school that day, doing stuff and staying active and thinking and stretching than just sitting home. Oh, we have a 2 o'clock game. Better sit home and rest before the game. Your whole body's out of whack now. We are not made to just sit. And when you're on a trip, it's even worse. So yeah, be careful when you pick teams based on that because
And I think
we've left for those reasons. But
I,
you know,
I think it's all balanced though too, right? Like don't be dumb about it, right? Like don't go
right.
to a water park the morning before your game. Don't sit at the beach in the sun for six
Yes.
hours, but go to breakfast, go for a walk. We went to like some museum. I think we went to like the Pez factory one time or something. Like we used to find my mom used to find all this stuff for us to do that was not physically taxing at all, but it kept our body moving. And I think some coaches see it as like, well, in college, you're not going to be like running around in the morning if you have an afternoon game. But like when I was in college, we go to dinner at night. We get up and we study, and girls walk to get coffee, and they like it's okay because I think as long as you have your routine that works for you, that's okay. And there's some girls where maybe they do want to sit all day and they do want to focus and just relax. But I also think there's benefit in if someone likes the routine of I get up, I walk and get my coffee, I go do this, I go grab lunch, and then I get ready. Like that's almost like a to each their own conversation, I feel.
Yeah. No, it's again, that's part of what you learn through experience. But I remember even we'd go to Florida around Halloween every time for a showcase. And I'd hear my friends say, "What are you going down there? What are the odds of a coach like and a player that does that?" Okay, I mean, set that aside. But how special does it feel to leave school on a Thursday, fly to Florida, play softball, go to uh, the Disney park and dress up in costumes with your team and do this against people from all over the country? Like that takes a lot of sacrifice. It's a lot of fun. It shows how special the game can be. And it just breaks up the monotony of work and life too. Like just embrace it all, but take the softball very seriously.
Yeah, and that's the thing I don't want people to miss when we're talking about this. Like, don't get me wrong, softball was the priority when we were there. We're just talking about that other aspect too that I think really gets missed a lot because, I mean, Dad, you probably have a better recollection of this. I remember there was one summer, like, we had 3 tournaments back to back. We weren't home for like 25 days, and we spent that time as a family going from New Jersey to Colorado to I'll turn it over to you for that because you probably know the logistics on it better than I do. But it was one of the best months I've ever had. Like it was incredible. And I think you just like you said, you embrace it and it's so so cool to be a part of, but you have to have the right attitude about it. And I think, you and my mom really helped me while I was in it be able to appreciate it too because I think that's hard. You grow up and you're like, wow, I wish I would have appreciated that more because it's not often that a 17-year-old kid gets to go to all these states for a month with their sister, play the game they love, and be with their family. So I think I'm going to turn it over to you for
Yeah,
more of the
so
logistics on
we
that.
we went to Team New Jersey. Then we drove to the Philly airport and flew to Colorado. One-way ticket. Then we took our rental car in Colorado and drove to the Four Corners, Albuquerque, Grand Canyon, or Canyon in Las Vegas, just for 2 or 3 days. Flew back for another tournament in New Jersey, and then got our regular car and drove to Kansas City for a tournament and then back. And
Mhm.
yeah, it's crazy, but boy, the stuff you learn and experience is part of the process. Like you don't go to these tournaments. This is the one that someone's gonna see me, or this is the one if I don't play well, uh, it's over. This is the one. Like, no, if you enjoy every part of the experience, right, it can bring joy to all parts of your life, including when you're on the field. And you have to understand, just like in life, you won't always play well on the field. But just because one part of your day's bad, we've had episodes like this, it doesn't mean your entire day's shot. And
Yeah.
we always made it a complete experience. I mean, listen, remember we'd go on vacations, and I mean your older sister was a pitcher, so we'd be up early in the morning and we'd go find an old field and pitch before breakfast. Then later we'd go find a place to hit, you, me, and her. Like
We
we
do drop steps in the sand at the beach. I
drop
remember.
step in the stand, yeah, the sand and fly balls, and you still worked hard, but you can do all that together. It doesn't have to be just softball when you go away. It shouldn't be just softball.
Yeah.
Now when you're home in the off season and during the school year and during the weeks when you're not traveling, you should be putting in the work and sacrificing a little if you're going to have some fun when you travel. But those tournaments and those travel experiences and everywhere you get to go, it should be fun at that point. The hard work should already have been put in. There's no cramming for a test at that point. Like, I
Yeah.
don't, when my students take a test, they don't get there 4 hours early and do all their studying right then before the test. They were
Yeah.
probably just at Starbucks or hanging out or somewhere else, and then they come to class and take their tests. It's the same with softball or
Yeah, and I mean,
sports in general.
talk about wanting to get close with your family. Take a 24-day tournament. No, no, it was
Yeah.
awesome. And to your point too, I think because we did all that stuff as a team too, we were so close. And I think that's part of the reason we did well. I mean, there were girls on my like we were not afraid to say things to each other because we had experienced things with each other that most teenage girls don't, right? We're flying places, we're together 24/7. If I was playing like crap, one of them was gonna tell me. And I was like, you're right. And that's not something that I feel like a lot of kids are comfortable with nowadays. But I mean, you can attest to that. We really just like communicated well with each other because we went through all these life experiences that helped shape us to do that.
Yeah. You you were really good at that, you and your teammates. I mean, on the peak teams, you're the 18U teams you were on, and there was nobody telling you you shouldn't carry yourself this way on the field. There's no one reminding you what uniform you had to wear. There's no one saying, make sure you're hydrated in the dugout and have your stuff. There's no parents yelling from the stands because you guys all took care of everything yourself as far
Mhm.
as holding each other accountable. You didn't need parents to do it. You didn't need the coach to do anything except manage and obviously tweak things and take care of the overall parts of the game. But it was amazing. But it's because you went through so much together.
Yeah, I just had a funny memory pop up too. I don't know if you remember, but when we were at Four Corners, I remember there was like a line to take a picture. And when you're standing in all four states, and we waited in this line for like 20 minutes, and you got up there and you gave me your phone and you're like, videotape this. And I'm like, here we go. Mind you, the line is still there. So there's like 50 people watching this happen. You looked at the camera, you ran in a little circle around all four states, and I went, woo, I'm tired. Oh my, do you remember that?
Yeah, I said, "Oh, just ran through 4 states. I'm exhausted." And I went, woo.
And the whole line's cracking up. I'm like, oh my gosh, that was fantastic.
If we only had TikTok back then.
Oh man, that would have went viral for
Dude,
sure.
I remember we were in some tournament and one of the fields had a chain around it, locked the gate to the field was locked. So somebody got a chain cutter, and then the rest of that game I just wore that chain around my neck. And
I
and
remember that.
I remember times the fields were so flooded. I got a fishing pole and I was fishing at third base.
Mm-hmm.
Just making the best of every situation. Yeah,
Yeah. And
we
I
had a lot
think
of
that
fun.
serves you for life too. Like, I think that's a lot of the reason why when things don't go our way, I'm like, well, what are you gonna do? Like, we'd show up to fields at 6 a.m., they'd be locked to your point. It's just, you just embrace it and you do it with the right people around you. And I think it's a great thing.
You remember the time? This was a close one. I mean, I got tossed out of that game when you were 12 or whatever. We talked about that, and I never did it again. But we were somewhere with your 14U team, and they our slapper was called out for stepping out of the box, and it ended the
Oh
whole game.
boy, yep.
And I was over there trying to drag the umpire. I took a picture of my phone where the foot was inside the batter's box, and I wouldn't let it go. And you and Jen are like, it's okay. Like we're just going home. Like nothing happens. All right, we played one less game today. So, and
Right.
the point is, we took the softball very, very seriously. But
Oh yeah.
I think especially when your own family starts trying to hold you accountable for big picture stuff, you realize, well, real quick, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I don't, to be honest, and I think a lot of athletes who are, out of it now would agree. Like, I don't remember a lot of the games or what specifically happened, but I do remember our tournament run in Boulder, Colorado, for a very specific reason because we were not meant to like compete well in that tournament. A lot of people thought that, we weren't gonna get to where we did. And I remember we made it to the final four and I think it was to get to the final four, we were playing like a game at what time at night was it? It had to have
It
been
was
so late.
10:30 when it got over because
Yeah,
it went nine
it was,
innings.
yeah, it started at like 8 p.m. and we were playing a really good team and it was just a dogfight, like a game you dream of being in. We're in Boulder, Colorado, one of the biggest tournaments in the US. It's a night game, the lights are in your face, and I remember it was about to go into extra innings, or we were in extra innings, and our we just got a huge out, and the inning was over, and our pitcher came over before we hit, and she goes, "Guys, score me one run, and we're winning this game. I'm telling you right now, just get me one freaking run." And like that was the dynamic that we had with our team. It was just so fun, and I will remember that game for a long time, if not forever, because I just remember the dynamic I had with my teammates and how much fun it was. Like that's one of those games you're just on the field and you look around and you're like, "Wow, this is pretty cool." So it's one of those times like you just wish you could freeze a little bit. And I mean, if I remember correctly, we also had to get up at 8 a.m. and we lost that game pretty bad, but I'm gonna skip over them.
Well,
But it was a really cool experience.
you had that same group of girls for the most part. A lot of them were on your 14U team too, and we never took ourselves too seriously. I remember we won nationals in Connecticut, and then we were down in Atlanta, and there was some team. Oh, our old coach, Mr. Wiggins, who we love to pieces. Uh, he's like, "Are you ready to go to the mountaintop? Who's going to be at the mountaintop? Us?" And I'm like, "Nope, the Texas Aces are because we're not that good." You remember when I said that?
Yeah.
Okay, but
Yeah.
we can be close. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
No, it
think
was awesome.
that's the game we went up 1-0 against them, and we thought we were so good. And then at the end of the first inning, it was like 12-1.
Yep.
It is what it is. But you traveling everywhere and having fun with it at the same time, your teams always wanted to play the best people. Pool play record didn't matter. Everybody
Nope.
playing equally mattered, and then you're going to make the run when it matters most with your best. And I think everybody loved that authenticity of it all, and everybody was on the same page.
Yeah. And quick thing too, I mean, I want to point out like you don't have to travel crazily to get to the
Right.
next level and get recruited. I want to point that out. We're just sharing our journey and the way that it went, but like I have so many girls who I know who succeeded at the highest levels who like didn't travel like crazy. I think it had a little bit to do with like where we were from and the teams we ended up on, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. Um, I also think too, like the interesting thing with our team, even when we did travel, like at least from the player perspective, there was not a lot of like complaining about playing time and like all that. I mean, it all ended up pretty even because we all worked hard. But I remember there were games when, a girl would be playing and she'd see a coach there and she's like, "Hey, you should take me out and put her in because she's emailing them." Like that's the kind of dialogue that we had with each other. And
Yep.
I remember like we'd go over to the girl, like we know that coach was watching, and we're like, "Dude, you got this. I got your back. Like this, it's gonna be okay. Just be you, be fine." And it truly was like a team camaraderie, and everybody just really wanted the best for each other. And I think there's a lot of value in that for those of you, young girls listening out there. Like I can't say enough about that. And I was really glad to be a part of a team like that.
Well, and again, it wasn't the fact necessarily that we traveled. We luckily had a lot of mentors that pointed us in the right direction of what colleges want and what coaches want. And,
Mhm.
we just did that online webinar a couple weeks ago. And right from the coach's mouth, they talk about how they're looking at how people act around their teammates at the events. Not if they go 3 for 3 or hit a home run. If they're already there watching you, they already like you. They want to see all the intangibles that your team had.
Yeah.
It was it because you traveled? No, but were you close because you traveled? Yeah, and
Yeah.
everybody is on the same page. I don't know which came first, but no, you don't travel could just be the state next door, and then
Right.
going to the right camps and making the right contacts. But from a perspective standpoint, there's nothing better than traveling all over because you realize how big the game is, how unfair the game can be, and how it often doesn't give you any love. You just have to keep loving it back, you
Hmm.
know, and there's no guarantees. And I think that perspective can't be found by not traveling, but that it doesn't mean you have to.
I also think at an early age, it kind of tells you like how much you actually love the game. Because I know for me, when we started traveling, I'm like, wow, there's a lot of talent out there. I want to get better. And some girls, it's like, oh, wow, those teams are really good. And both are okay. I just think, I know for us, we had conversations of like, wow, they are
Yeah.
incredible and I want to get there.
We had a lot of mental wins where we lost a game 6-2 or 6-3, but we thought we'd lose 8-0 or 9
Hmm.
nothing. And it doesn't mean you don't want to play those teams, and it doesn't mean it's fair because they draw from a bigger area or their teams have bigger budgets or take their own travel buses. We didn't care about any of that. You wanted to play those people because that's how you get better. And
And I
everybody
remember
was
there were
always
so many times like we didn't even know like the name on the jersey, and after the fact, you guys would be like, "Do you know their pitcher's going to this big time D1 and all that?" We're like, "Oh, like okay." And honestly, it was so cool because it showed us that we could compete with a lot of people, and I just think sometimes when you go to travel ball and you play a team and there's an organization name and then there's 12 teams in that organization name and you see one of them, it's like, oh my gosh, like they're part of that. All you have to do to win is score more runs. And I feel like
yeah.
people forget, and I know I'm downplaying it and making it, but like if no upsets ever happen in sports, they'd be really boring. You and I say that all the time. So even if you go to play a team, like they might beat you 9 times out of 10, but maybe this will be that one. And like you really have to just keep that perspective. And that's something I feel like we always really try to do on that 14 and 18U team we were on.
And you can't have your favorite moments in life if you're not willing to be vulnerable to probably getting your butt spanked.
Yeah.
Because no one makes a Disney movie because you were supposed to beat a team 12-0 and you beat them 15-0. Oh, that's a great movie. I want to see that one, right? You know, uh, and even to this day, when I coach, in high school, we have a really good area for high school softball. And I I watch tape. I know how teams are doing. I watch how girls play on the other teams, but I don't dive into where they're going or what they're doing because it doesn't matter. We have to hit the ball. We have to run the bases. We have to make plays.
Mhm.
And they could be going to Alabama, which, I'm just saying. And that day they might not play like they're going there if we do our thing, put
Mhm.
pressure on them. And I feel bad because I think it's harder and harder now for players in any sport not to know all the stuff about the opponents they're playing because it's just everywhere on social media.
It's information
You were
overload. Yeah.
you were 2018 and it wasn't like it was now. I know that it's not that long ago, but in the world of
Jeez. No, I'm kidding.
no, but in the world of social media, it was that long ago.
Yeah, I totally get it. But I think the one other topic I'll end on too is like besides softball, like I'm a huge advocate of travel in general. So we can just talk about that for a minute too. Like I think even since graduation or like all the other trips we've been on, we did a family trip to Iceland. I got the opportunity to go to Europe this year. I went to Italy, Austria, Germany, Switzerland. Like there is just so much perspective in travel. I truly am just a really big advocate for it because I think it just gives you a break from like your everyday life to see how other people live and see different things. And I think there's just a lot of benefit in it too. And I think it's always worth making those memories, in my opinion.
Well, and you know what they say, you haven't lived until you've played golf at Iceland at 1:30 in the morning.
Right, people do say that. So yeah. No, I
Which
remember
you,
that too.
well, but again, carried on from the travel softball days, anytime I go on a vacation with or without you now, I mean, sadly, most of the time it's without, but
Yeah.
uh we go find fun, crazy, goofy things to do and experience the area. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
And stepping outside your comfort zone and exploring and just making the best of where you're at. And when you travel and whatever level you travel on in sports, you have to make the best of your situation, or you're being very selfish and you're wasting your time, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's also just one of those things where a lot of people say, "Oh, like it's not the right time. I'll go next year. I'll go next year. I'll go next year." And it just keeps getting pushed off. I mean, I know for me, some of the trips I've been on, it's my friends look at me and they're like, "Do you want to do it?" I'm like, "Yep." Like it's kind of one of those things you and I'm obviously be responsible and whatnot, but
Right.
I just think there's never a good time for some of that stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And from a parent's perspective, I still get taken back when I hear people say, "Ah, if I wasn't traveling, I'd have my car paid off, or I could be by my pool, or I could have this or that, or I'm going broke doing it." You never heard us say that because the memories we were making were priceless. We have
Hmm.
all the time in the world now to recoup all the money. And it wasn't about trying to get a scholarship. And it wasn't about, hopefully this money invested will save on college. No, it was about giving you guys your best life, learning through travel and experience and perspective. And at the same time, trying to pursue what we thought your dream was. You never know year to year, but it turns out it was, right?
Yeah, and I also think this is a great reminder for kids listening, like thank your parents for all this stuff because and I can tell you, and he's my dad right now, most of the time when I was mad as a softball player, who did it get taken out on? Probably him and my mom, when really they're the one doing the most for me, and your parents are the ones doing the most for you. So I think just like take a beat sometimes and understand like they're just trying to help you for the most part. Like they're giving up a lot for to take you to practice and games and finance it, like financing all this stuff. So I think just a reminder if you haven't lately, like say thank you to your parents or whoever it is that's supporting you through this because I think there's a lot probably they're doing behind the scenes that you don't even realize to make it happen. So,
Well, there's definitely a gratitude aspect there. And I'll go from the parent side. If you're packing your child's uniform when they get to be a certain age and you're packing the car and you're taking care of the bags and you're asking where they want to eat all the time and what time this should happen or what, I mean, you're not going to raise somebody that's very grateful to all you're doing, and it's only going to add to your own frustration. So you have to toe a line and you have to be ready to stop doing it if they don't appreciate it. Easier said than
mhm.
done, but it has to be that way. Has to.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So,
So
thank your
yeah, no, it was
parents.
fun.
Thank your parents, people. Thank your family. Yeah.
A lot of fun, and everybody says, "Do you miss it?" I'm like, "Yeah, I would trade stuff to go back to those days." I mean, I'm on to other things and other chapters like you are, but I miss those days. They were a lot of fun. I don't
Well, in
regret it
my
at all.
defense, I'm still at travel ball tournaments. It's just on the other side. So that is quite interesting. I will say, after the break of like being in college and then moving out here, going to my first travel tournament again, I was like, I like stepped out of the car and I had to take a few deep breaths. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is so bizarre. Like seeing all the parents with coolers and all the chairs and the snacks and all the stuff. I in
Funny.
in a good way. But I
Right,
was
right.
just like. Oh my gosh. And then being in the hotels and all the kids like in the lobby and all the parents, it was very nostalgic is the word I'll use. I'm like, this
And,
is crazy.
and being on the complete opposite side of it, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's wild.
So,
Hey, it's the circle of softball. That's what they say.
oh, 100%. But all
All right.
right, this was a
Hey,
fun one.
yeah, we'll see you next week.
Yep. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.